Big deal.
V-Show rolling along here on a Wednesday, ESPN 680, 105.7, the fabulous one, Phil Baker, Nick Valvano in for Bobby V today. Very happy, as I cannot get this frog out of my throat. Very, very happy, though, to be joined by ESPN's National Recruiting Director. We know him. You love him. Uncle Paulie, Paul Biancardi, fresh off his call of the McDonald's All-American game, joins us now. Uncle Paulie, how'd it go last night? I was watching, but, it seemed like it was a pretty good time.
Oh, it was an exciting time. And fresh off the plane, I just got off the plane from LaGuardia to Indy, and now getting ready for Chipotle Nationals.
Beautiful.
But the McDonald's All-American game, there's so much that goes on both on the court and off the court. The practices are closed, and the coaches do an excellent job. Then there's a scrimmage, obviously a dunk competition, a three-point shooting contest. We televise that, and then the game. So to see the best go against the best, you kind of find out who's made of what.
No, absolutely. And a lot of I kind of want to get your thoughts on this. I brought this up earlier in the show. For us locals here that always tune in, it had a different feel to it this go around. As in the past with Coach Cal at UK, I mean, we were typically watching what UK's starting lineup would be at times in the game. This year, U of L fans are watching Mikal Brown and Nate Ament. I mean, could you just speak to the local flavor of Pat Kelsey and Mark Pope and how their relationship with recruiting, how it might be different for us locals here tuning into the McDonald's All-American game?
Yeah, well, first of all, Pat Kelsey has really picked things up in the recruiting circles, and Mikal Brown is going to be a big addition. In the three-point shooting contest, maximum of 34 points you can get taking the balls off the rack, 5 different spots. He made 28 points out of the 34.
Jeez.
His jump shot is so clean. It's got great distance on it, accuracy, and he's got a quick release. Now, the thing you have to know about Brown, I watched him as a freshman, Nick, and he was highly skilled then, and he's only gotten better. He's one of the most skilled freshmen I've seen probably in the last 5 or 10 years, just as a pure freshman. Louisville has themselves a guard who can really shoot it and score it. He's got a float game. He's got the three-point shot. He's pretty crafty around the basket. Not strong, still slight build. But he has the offensive instincts and the offensive skill that you need at the ACC level. He's got to get stronger. He's got to learn how to play defense. The strength will help him finish, and the strength will help him guard. But the offense is there right now.
Paul Biancardi joining us here on the V Show. Nick Valvano, Phil Baker filling in for Bobby V. Paul, 365-ish days ago, Pat Kelsey was hired. You kind of alluded to it, how the recruiting circles deem him and his Louisville coaching staff, what they're doing with the transfer portal. Fast forward to now, what has it changed? Is the perception a little bit different than that in terms of high school recruiting? What's in April 2nd, 2025? What is the point of view of a young high school recruit that's considering Louisville compared to like Kentucky, Carolina, and Duke? What is Louisville a year later?
What's their image?
Yes.
Yeah, it's back. It's back. It's not completely back, but Pat has got it there quicker than most people would have realized, unless you know Pat like we do as coaches. What I saw him do at Winthrop and at Charleston was remarkable, and he did it over the course of time. He's not even though it was a quick fix, he's a long-term thinker. He's in it for the long run. He makes long-term decisions. He just put his imprints on this program, and you saw the results. Now, the ACC was down a little bit, but that doesn't matter because, everybody was, giving out scholarships and everyone was dealing with the portal. And he did a fabulous job. I think people always will recognize the Louisville name, and once Louisville wins on a consistent basis, I think that's when you're going to see Louisville being back. And that hasn't happened in quite some time. So his recruiting is being very aggressive with it, and he's going to bring in a person and a basketball player that he feels that will do it his way, and then the team will get the results that they need. The player will get the, accolades that they're looking for. And, he's got a good gift, and he's going to work with it.
ESPN National Recruiting Director, Uncle Paulie, Paul Biancardi, joining us now on the V Show. Paul, I got to get your thoughts on Nate Ament. Last night, I watched some videos of him. I've always been really kind of impressed with his mid-range game. Big body, can block shots, can dunk and finish around the rim. But last night, I was really impressed with his ability to run the floor and handle the basketball. He's living up to those nicknames of a unicorn. But can you tell us a little bit about him? And also, it was interesting, and it was caught, obviously, by the eye of all the locals here. But I'm assuming it was just a glitch on the on the graphics department. But they said that they thought he'd be going to Louisville. What are you hearing about where Nate Ament might go? Maybe you guys know something we don't. And can you tell us a little bit about the big man?
Yeah, first of all, in recruiting, I put out a couple of days ago, Nick, that he was postponing his announcement.
Right.
So I talked to him at the McDonald's All-American game. I put that out on X. It came from his words, his quotes as to why he wants to see what the schools that he's looking at, what they're going to bring in from the portal. There's still a couple of weeks left in the portal. And so he wants to kind of see who he's going to be lining up with as players. He wants to make sure that he's 100% with the school of his choice, which he did not allude to which school. And I have a feeling that he's seriously considering, all the schools on his list, quite frankly. I don't know how you can eliminate someone on his list because he's been in contact with everyone, as he told me. So he's keeping it close to the vest. A lot of people say, well, he's waiting, to get more money. I don't think that's the case. I think he wants to play with the right players that he feels comfortable with, that he should be surrounded by, maybe in terms of skill, size, right? Everybody was recruiting him at the McDonald's game. Michael Brown was recruiting him to Louisville. The Boozers were recruiting him to Duke. Malachi Moreno was recruiting him to Kentucky. And Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas was recruiting him to Arkansas. The kid couldn't get 5 minutes by himself the whole week. Everybody wanted a piece of him. As far as a player goes, he may have the second most upside in the class outside of A.J. DiBonsa. He is a true 6'10". When you stand up to him, you talked about watching film, doesn't do justice. He is really long. He is 6'10", with a 7+ wingspan. Got a beautiful, soft three-point shot. He handles it well at 6'10". He passes it very well, and he can make shots from the mid-range and the three-point line, and he's getting better at finishing around the basket with his drives. He is painfully thin, so any bump right now will take him off his layups. But free throw shooter, jump shooter, passer, handles for size. He's got great upside down the road. He's a top 5 NBA lottery pick.
Paul Biancardi joining us here, fresh off the McDonald's All-American game. You alluded to A.J. DiBonsa. In terms of a Cooper Flag type of player in this year's class, who's going to be one for some of the fans that are out there that you need to revisit this time next year? It's like they're the face of the sport. Is it A.J. or is it somebody else that could be out there that you were impressed with over the last week?
That's a great question. For me, A.J. DiBonsa is going to impress college basketball. He's going to put BYU, back on the map. They got on the map this year. They made the tournament. Kevin Young did a great job in coaching, had some really good pieces. What they bring around A.J. DiBonsa is going to be huge. He needs a pure point guard. He needs a center, and he needs some shooters. He is a jumbo, major league, high-level NBA athlete who has a variety of skills, and he's a versatile defender. Darren Peterson is going to have a Cooper Flag-like effect for Kansas and Bill Self at a very good time. I think this is the most games that Bill Self at Kansas has lost in a 2-year period. Darren Peterson will change that. And then Cameron Boozer, the most accomplished high school player that I've seen in a long, long time, going to Duke next year. He's won so many individual awards, and his team, 4 state championships, 3 grassroots Peach Jam championships, which are really hard to do. The Peach Jam is ultra competitive. He's won a gold medal with USA Basketball. He is just a flat-out winner. Those 3 guys will be the face of college basketball next year. And you could throw in Darius Acuff going to Arkansas. He's going to make a name for himself, and I think he's going to inject a lot of scoring punch for the Razorbacks.
ESPN's Paul Biancardi, National Recruiting Director, Uncle Paulie, joining us now. We mentioned the U of L guys that are on U of L's radar or have already signed, Mikael Brown and Nate Ament. But Malachi Moreno, 9 points last night. What can you tell us about the future Wildcat?
So funny. He just got off the plane, right? He just won a state championship at Great Crossings High School. He missed like 3 practices, flew in, had lunch, played in the scrimmage, and we televised it. He had like 13 points in the scrimmage. He never practiced with anybody.
Oh, wow.
He was fantastic to be around. I actually had lunch with him the other day, just he and I. What a grounded young man. What a humble young man. What a team player. And the University of Kentucky means so much to him. You know, we were talking about NIL. We were talking about the portal. I mean, you know, he grew up right under the umbrella of UK, and that's where he wanted to go his whole life. And he feels very grateful for the opportunity that Mark Pope afforded him. Obviously, John Calipari prior to that, so he had to get re-recruited to Kentucky, but he can't wait to get started there. And he is a big passing, scoring center. He's an offensive-minded center who can block shots as he gets stronger as well. A lot of these guys need strength, you know, to play in the low post or to play outside on the perimeter, and certainly to finish shots inside. So strength and balance for him is going to be important, but his passing, his jump hook inside, he's got a little jump shot facing the basket. Mark Pope's going to run offense through him at times. He's a great dribble handoff guy. You can hit him. He'll hit a cutter. He's fun to watch, and he's easy to play with.
Paul Biancardi joining us. Paul, before we get you out of here, got to get your thoughts on the Final Four. Very chalky, first time since 2008. All the 1 seeds making it. Should be it's shaping up, as Phil brought up earlier in the show. 4 of the top 10 teams all time on KenPom are in this bad boy. But yeah, it should be a fun one. But who do you got?
Well, this is what I'm going to say. The Houston-Duke game obviously is going to be a phenomenal game. 2 of the best defenses in the country and 2 teams that scored at a really high level. Kelvin Sampson's team this year can shoot the 3 really well. This is his best offensive team. This is his chance to win a national championship. If Kaman Malawach stays on the court for 30 minutes plus, I have Duke winning. First of all, they have 3 NBA players, so they have the talent. He needs to stay on the floor. He's the difference in my mind defensively. Yes, they have length with Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel, and the other guys are strong and they're long, and Proctor's 6'5". But Malawach is the key to their defense. When they lost to Clemson, he fouled out in the last 2 minutes in a close game, and then Clemson pulled away. They scored at the rim. You can score at the rim against Duke when Malawach is not in there. So if he stays out of foul trouble, I have Duke winning that game. The other game, I like Florida. I just think they are the most complete team in the Final Four with the size, the guard play, the defense, the ability to protect the rim. They're bigger than Auburn, and I know Bruce has done a phenomenal job this year with his team. I like Florida, and I'm going to go with Duke in the national championship, and I'm going to pick Florida to win it all.
Paul Biancardi, ESPN, Nick lied. We have one more. And if you don't know the answer to this, that is completely okay with this. So in 2026, has a site been announced for the McDonald's All-American game? Or I know they've rotated sites, but I wasn't sure if you had any insight. And selfishly, I know they had it here in 2007 at Freedom Hall. I wasn't sure if they were looking to maybe move it around. And if you have no idea, that's completely fine too.
Yeah, I'm not sure at this point, but it has been heavy on the East Coast. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a West Coast location.
Okay. Well, there you go.
There you go. There you have it. Uncle Paulie, ESPN's National Recruiting Director, Paul Biancardi. Give him a follow on Twitter, at Paul Biancardi. We always appreciate the time, man. Great job on the McDonald's All-American game last night. We'll catch up with you down the road.
All right, guys. Hey, all the high school recruiting fanatics out there, Chipotle National starts tomorrow at 2 p.m. We got 4 games on ESPNU, ESPN2, Friday, semifinals, Saturday at noon, the championship game. A lot of high school basketball, top 8 teams in the country playing for a championship.
There you have it. Keep it. Put that on your sports calendars, ladies and gentlemen. Always appreciate the time, Paul. Enjoy the Final Four, and we'll keep an eye on that Chipotle game.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Always good. Always love Paul Biancardi. He's the best.
He's an encyclopedia of knowledge. Big deal.